Hey everyone, welcome back. This is video number 9. We previously looked at the two different methods of drawing the torso and the benefits of each. There was a more, something that was based more on the basic shapes, and that was some would find that really easy. So that was one method that we did, okay, for the torso. And number 2 was the potato sack method. So you can have one side stretching, one side, contracting, and you'll have something like that. Okay. So that's the potato sack method. And out of these come the arms and so forth. So that's number 2. So this third one, number 3, I will call it the bean method. So basically what it is if you've ever seen a kidney bean or anything, it's kind of shaped something like this. But what I want you to do is probably have one side, one of the halves actually a little bit bigger than the other, just like that. So that's another method, and we'll call this the bean method. The bean method is pretty good because you're already putting that curve that might be in the back. So for an example, if I was using the bean method, okay, so I'm having the bottom a little bit smaller than the top. Then from here, it already has that natural curve that's prevalent in our spine. Okay, just like that. So that natural curve is already in there, and we just have to refine a few things and add in the shoulder joint and the socket where the legs would fit in. Okay. So this one's pretty cool, and it's maybe a little bit closer to the real thing than these other two are. These two are really good for just getting you the initial lay-in of your figure. So like if you want to figure it out really quickly, or what does it look like before you go ahead and do a final drawing, you can use this. Okay, so you're looking at probably someone who's doing maybe long jump or something, and you're trying to figure out, how am I gonna. So for an example, this is the potato sack method. You have those two things. He's facing this way. He's actually jumping that way, sorry. So you just, initially just laying it in, and normally they'll have their legs like way out like this. And so you're just laying it in. Just trying to figure out, and then you say, okay, well that kind of looks kind of okay. And then you go ahead and you'll be changing, quite a few things, trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. Now when you're changing it like this, so this was the potato sack, it's actually starting to look more like that bean there. So that's why I was saying this one looks a little bit more closer to the real thing. So when you're changing this around, you're making this smaller right there, and making the top a little bit bigger. So that's where the chest area is. And then you have that socket there, and this socket here. So you can change this to look more like underwear if you want. That way you're dividing these two, just like that. Okay, so that's the bean method. So with the bean method, the way that you practice it is literally just drawing beans. That's all. Draw a big one, draw a small one, draw it in different angles. What would it look like from the top? What would it look like from the bottom? Go ahead and grab a bean if you want and start twisting it and turning it, and then just copying what it looks like. But remember, try and make the bottom just a little bit smaller. Okay, and just keep practicing. Just keep drawing that, and then you'll get used to it. Okay, so that's the the bean method. Now with the bean method, as I said, the bottom is a little bit smaller than the top. So it's actually made up of like two parts. Now, the way of using this for figure drawing is taught in books like How to Draw Things the Marvel Way. Okay, and you have the spine here, and then the arms come out. That's a good thing to know, like this. And for some people, that's kind of easy, which is good. And the thing is, when you begin to turn this, you might go overboard. So for an example, this is the rib cage right there, and you have the pelvis there. Sometimes the danger is actually making this pelvis point a little bit too much when you're doing a twist. So that's a twist there. This one's going this way. So if you had this coming in like that, this is almost a 90-degree turn, and probably the only people who can do this turn are contortionists. In the real human body, we go about, maybe at the most, about 60% for the average human being is about 60%, a 60-degree turn, sorry. So this one, you'd hardly see this one, you'd hardly see people do this unless they're very flexible. But with this one, when you use this method, the bean method, it kind of limits the amount of turn that you can do. So you don't go overboard with it. So this one would look something like this. The rib cage is there, right? And it doesn't move. It just stays static like that. So the muscle would come from here, go in there, and it'd be really, really, really stretched. Like that. Okay. So that's an extreme stretching of this muscle here. And it connects to the rib cage right there. This one connects to the rib cage right there, so it'll come out. The waistline is there, the shoulder line is there. So this one will blob out like that, and there'll be all this fat and muscle and coming out right there. So you can make it look believable, but in reality, it's really hard for someone to get into this particular position. Okay. So that's an extreme twist. But when you're using the bean, the thing is, it limits that twist. Now, the way you do this twist if you're using the bean is to remember that it is made up of these two parts. Okay, but what you want is that egg shape, right? And you take that half down. In other words, you're making like a third. So this is 3 parts, 1, 2, 3, and then what you have is the bottom part of the bean coming down to about like a third, like that. And then all you do is just don't have that sharp edge, just have it kind of, connecting together like that. And so from the front, that's what the bean would look like. Okay. So with the bean, go ahead and practice it, and then we'll come back and I'll show you a little bit more about this bean and how we can go to the next step of making the bean look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Practice your bean, practice your potato, and practice your, we call him Jim. Jim, potato, and bean. Okay, 2 foods in 1 person. See you in the next video.